Hello everybody! In today's video you are going to see how to draw a 9 head from a dress figure. For illustrators it is important that we do lots of observation so that we can understand the relation between our body movements and the drapes. The best possible way for making much better progress is that out of the picture that you want to work, make the 9 head. Why we are doing it? Because all the dynamics of that body with the movements belong to that body. And it is not that difficult. So we are starting to draw with the joints and with the movement lines. And everything starts with the line, we can call it as balance line, that goes from the half of the body. And we try to understand all these organs piece by piece, like top torso, within the torso, the bust, the movement line of the bust, the waist, and then arms separately, and legs separately, and hip part separately, as it is in the normal way. And as you can see, it's a frontal view, but one hip is slightly higher than the other one. I can see this knee and I can draw. From here I go to this direction. So my direction is, because I cannot see the crotch, I start from the knee and I move to the crotch level. And you can see that at some point they merge. You can use the proportion itself also, because you know that your hip level is like level 4, which means like one head is one level, so you can measure with the head and you will see that they are going to merge somewhere there. And whenever you cannot see, please just open the paper, so don't put sellotapes all over. Otherwise you won't understand. This is the most important part to create a 9 head figure. And I'm putting all the bones inside because I know that if these continue on a single line, that means I'm doing a correct thing. If not possible to see the legs or the feet, my advice is either go on a mirror that you can see all about yourself and try to pose the same way, take your own picture and then draw, or ask a person. Of course it should be a woman, it's going to be better because of the proportions, and take the picture. Here, these are the levels, like elbows are in the same level of a waist because it's a frontal one and she's not changing any position of her arms. Then about the ankles, they are around the level of crotch. So you can make some guidelines and note that the face length is equal to hands length in normal woman body. And you can check it with the mirror yourself. Even if you have smaller hands, make longer hands is looking good in illustration. So you can always base on face, total of face length for making the hands. So I put balance line to balance line, which is from the front one, and chin to one. So chin to one, line to line. This can be remembered in a correct and easy way. After that, I already know about my measurements and levels. I told you in another video. So what we try to do, we try to squeeze this body into our grid. So basically we are going to follow the levels and we are going to keep all the movement lines in the same way, and whenever we try to shrink her, we are going to take from the same side. But first we need to check about the crotch level. Crotch should be something around 0.5 to 0.7 centimeter below level 4. So it was okay. That's why I didn't change it. Here, I made the movement line first, then I measure 5 centimeters From both ends I take the similar amount and I put the joints inside, not additional. The neck, I made it 1 centimeter and I'm using paperweights because they are easier than sellotapes. Here, first I make the line, then on top I'm measuring. You can measure 2.4 or 2.5 centimeter. 2.5 is easier to remember. And from both ends, I match it with the shoulders. Why? Because the ribs will be on that line. And then for the hip, I need to make 4 centimeters. These are just easy menus. According to A4, I know that if I follow these, they are going to look okay. But after that, you can stylize even further and you can change the levels, you can change it. But when you make a base of 9 head, everything will be much more easier then. So the bust should be on the same level. So if we are talking about nipples, it should be on the same level, and also they should have the same measurement distance to the spine. I'm showing you a new method now. You can either move the balance line until you reach the end of shoulder, or because you are able to see everything beneath, you can make parallel lines to the arms that you can see. So, whichever is easier for you. For me, both of them are okay. Generally, if you move the line to line parallel, it's going to be easier for a starter, but for very easy arms like this, you can do both ways, no problem. You can try it. But it's important that you understand the hand joint by joint. You chop it off and chop it off. You are not trying to draw the fingers very perfectly from the start. You need to understand from where the junctions are. Here I'm making just a parallel line, whatever I see, and you can merge them as if it's a puppet, because these are the cross sections that they go together. And here I'm applying the same measurement. Because you change the face length, you have to resize about the hands. Otherwise the hands will look very big. Because we take the face size, it was the head size, so we shrink it. So always keep the leg that is totally straightforward, whichever straightforward, because not possible that all of them are totally banded, etc. for an illustration like this. So you need to move from the center and you need to keep the same distance from center to balance line, and my size is 1 centimeter below the level 6. So what I do, I basically put them on the levels, and it is important that you check if the both legs are the same measurement. Here, if you forget, you just correct it. You need to find the center of it. So I can see that I have to put 1 centimeter above 9. So this needs to come here. So I'm keeping the same distance to balance line and I'm dropping it. After that, it is very easy. Keep the line on top of the line, which means like balance line on balance line, and then you go until you reach that part. And for the calf, you can measure like 1/3 of it. This will be the biggest part of the lower leg. So you need to make sometimes some small changes because you are just diminishing the size. But it is something that you can arrange with your own eye. This leg is coming with the other leg, as you can see. So it's basically very easy. If you make one of them in a correct way, then the other one is going to follow. And it's going to be okay if you just try to understand if you are doing correct by making the bones inside. So here let's see if there's any problem. And I think I made my waist a little bit bigger, so even with the tip of the pencil you can move it to a thinner way. So you need to check it, and I realized that I need to move my bust a little bit more to our skeleton because they were looking a little bit too parted. So you can use this soft eraser, it's very easy. And I'm using the princess lines as if they are there, as if it's a technical drawing, and you can see that they fit. So we made a dress figure out of a photograph, and it's a good 9 heads. Now I'm going to show you how to do a garment on the body you made. By the way, you can just take this one and make it in A4, or you can just start working on it. Here I'm placing a garment, and I decide about my hair, etc. Now I'm doing observation, but I'm not very restricted about it. I'm using it as a base, because from the same picture, by change of drapes and by change of the weight of the fabric, I can draw from chiffon to organza to mesh. Here now it's a mesh, and I already have a figure. So you can just mark it and draw separately, or you can draw right away. It's about you and your method. But first draw the lines so that you can make both eyes on the same level. If needed, you can use a 0.3 pencil. Here I'm using a 0.5 pencil, and I'm using a 2B inside. That means a little bit dark so that it moves on the line easy. Some people don't like it. If you want it grayer, then use HB for filling. So here, if you are drawing from imagination, still you need to think about the proportions and act accordingly. You need to feel the garment. So here, this, if it was a bustier, you should be drawing like this, because it is the top of the breast. If you try to do it a little bit lower, then your nipples will be shown, which nobody wants it. So I'm going to make a crop top, but still it's a little bit looser on the body, so I'm going a little bit further. And still you need to do the darts, you need to think about the construction, because it's important that you understand this is a 3-dimensional figure, it's not a 2-dimensional figure. And as if I'm redrawing everything, I'm paying attention to all these details. The secret of doing a better job for illustration is always like this. You are still free, you can make some overlapping, etc. But you need to make it carefully. And you need to feel it, try to understand it. Here, for example, if you want to show some muscles, never draw a line but make a shadow instead. So I'm making a rehearsal. I'm checking if it's going to look okay or not. And because of the breasts, the middle part will be a little bit different if I have a ribbon there. Now I'm going to put some yoke there, and that yoke should be parallel to waist. And after that, I need to decide first about my volume and my length. I want something full and rich. And Please note that these are garments. Even though you are just an illustrator, you need to think about the real garments. If there will be short inside, if she is going to be totally naked. You can do everything, but if you are a designer, you have to design your garments noting that nobody wants to wear by showing their underwear. You need to design a specific item, even though it is not a part of that dress, so that your customers can have more satisfaction and can both of them. So basically, if it is a mesh, I know that the drapes will be soft, but not that drapery as if in chiffon. So I distribute them and know that this leg, like whichever leg in front, is going to push the garment. And that leg is a little bit more in front than the other one. So I distribute and I make the layering, but the hemline is on a circular line. So I distribute, I check. In the stage you can use a paperweight also, but I'm just drawing as I see. But that leg, the one that is a little bit above, a little bit at the back, still I have to see the tip of it, otherwise she is going to collapse. So I show it, and now I'm going to check. Now this is important. Here, from there you have to come. So the hemline should have some connection and it should be on the same line. And then check it with your own eyes. Make corrections. I redistribute. And even you have to think what type of a mesh you are going to do. If you are going to make a big mesh, small mesh, what is the size, if it is three-dimensional. And in the next video I'm going to show you how to do a mesh. But it is important that the hemline will be adjusted.